Hey everyone, this video is to talk about some sample art that students have done in the past for the Art Intro Traditional Multicultural Arts Presentation homework. By traditional, I mean, like I said, the requirement at least 200 years ago, not for the study of just one artist, but the study of a culture's art in general. So some type of art that's widespread in a culture. So anyway, as part of your assignment, you have to do a slideshow, which you show to the class with a speech, but you also have to create a piece of art. So what I've said here is on a piece of illustration board. So this is this hard board, this like cardboard we have in class, a 15 by 20, that's the full size. A new piece of two-dimensional art, so no 3D. If you're making a vase or a sculpture or something, you have to do a drawing of the sculpture or whatever. So just make it a two-dimensional piece of art, and it's in reference to something you saw, but you're going to add some type of creative interpretation. As you can see in the first one, I'm going to turn this one. The others are a little small. This is Olmec statues, and instead of just sitting on the ground, they're very large. So you have this huge head, little body. Instead of doing that, you can see him skiing down a hill. Okay, you would have never seen that, right, with the statue. So that's the creative interpretation. It says you're not to directly copy a piece of art, but to interpret the art into a new piece of art you've designed. It may be a personal statement or just your own ideas. For instance, you could use a similar color and style from the original piece of art, but change the subject matter or update the detailing. Or in this case, it's a drawing and obviously not a piece of sculpture. So don't copy it exactly. You have to make some creative changes to it. The art piece should take at least 4 to no more than 8 hours of work, and it should look complete. So on the first one I'm showing you is maybe 4 hours. It's probably a little bit shy, but most of the other ones are solidly 4 hours. So we'll take a look at that when we see the samples. It says a student may decide which materials to use on this board, whether it's just graphite pencil or colored pencil, which this one is, watercolors, tempera paints, that's so opaque paint, ink, pastels, or a mix of the supplies. You do not have to use the same materials as the original culture. If you're thinking of doing something other than that, would you please ask me first? Don't do anything that's so simple that you're done in half an hour. So if you did use, let's say, charcoal, make sure there's plenty of work to do so you have that 4 to 8 hours for this art piece. So let me talk, so you can go back and read this anytime. That's in your information you have. Its grade is based on 100 points, so it's like a big project. It's based on, is it appropriate to the culture? Is it original? Did you obviously plan it with a good composition? And then the overall effort and completeness. So this one is referring to, like I said, the Olmec sculpture, and they made him skiing down a hill. It's really fun and different. This next one is referring to, I think it's Mayan designs. But anyway, instead of having a mural, they put it in a Star Wars theme. You can see they're holding lightsabers, and there's specific ships flying around and so on. So it probably took a long time to draw this in the first place, but the actual finishing of it possibly could have taken more time. This one's really funny. This is an interpretation of the Chinese terracotta soldiers. So in your case, you'll show a slide beforehand of what the art did look like. And then what they've done is they've, taken the Chinese terracotta soldiers, changed them to like a 60s clothes, and he's giving them a VW van to drive and so on. So he's kind of put him in the 60s. This one is based on an Aztec calendar. And so then they took the idea, I think there's a movie called Beverly Hills, Chihuahua, and drew that up. And you can tell by the intricate drawing here and so on that they did spend a lot of time on this one. Here's an original idea they were going from. This one's pretty fun. This was Greek pottery. And so they used the idea of the movie Hercules. And instead of this would have been either black or red or white figures, they actually made them more colorful and actually took characters from the actual movie. So they made some changes here with the type of image shown in the middle, and then the pottery itself looks a little more traditional. This one's pretty fun. This is based on Greek sculpture, and instead of having the discus thrower, you've got a man bowling. So it's kind of the same pose, and it's pretty creative and fun. I would say it took a while to draw. Some of the ones with more color, maybe a little more dynamic, but I've always got a kick out of that one. One of the topics is Chinese masks. And so obviously the person who did this really enjoyed drawing, you know, in a cartoon style. You know, why not? So they just decided to show a young woman about to put the mask on. Lots of ever here fun projects. So if there's kind of a way you like to draw, maybe you could do that somehow with this project. This is actually a painting that you can tell there's a lot of acrylic paint here. And this is the Inuit art. And what they've done is they've taken the Inuit painting style and used that to paint the California state flag instead of a brown bear like we usually see. It's always kind of a fun, different way of going about it. This person had Aboriginal art from Australia, and they took, I think this is also acrylic paint, where they took a pencil or something and dipped it in the paint. You know, one of their styles is with all the dots. Obviously, the Australian art would not be, that's over 200 years old, would not be this colorful, would look a little bit different, but it's, you know, close to the style, but their own interpretation. I love these tiny little dots they have here and there that show more detail and so on. This is an example of what not to do. So there's a Japanese print called The Great Wave. That's, I guess, the Western name for it. It has another name for the print. Anyway, and the original one, it does have a boat down here, and you can see Mount Fiji in the background. But other than that, this isn't like an exact copy. So we don't want exact copies or exact copies where you left out details. What we want is an interpretation. So even though they spent a lot of time on this didn't get full credit, because where's the creative interpretation? So this person had the same subject. This was done another year, and instead of the boat, they put in a banana, and in here in the foam of the waves, there's monkeys trying to get to the banana. Somebody's surfing on the boat or something. Here's Mount Fiji like it's supposed to be. Anyway, kind of a really unusual and silly, and I don't know how they got that idea, but it's kind of fun. So here's your creative interpretation of the original. This next one's pretty neat. The Plains Indians was one of the topics, and what they've done is they've shown it, the story is called The Trail of Tears, how the Indians had to cross over, you know, forced migration across a good part of the country, and a lot of them died during this time. It was a very difficult time. So it shows some of their images kind of raining down and kind of ending up in a puddle. But this is very much like you would actually see on a blanket. So she's actually turned this into a wonderful story. This is a very, very thoughtful and high-end project here. She really put a lot into this. Here's another one that has a lot of thought put into this. This is the art more of the what we used to call the totem pole style. Anyway, and so what they've done is they have the Thunderbird is one of the images that's used a lot. There's also, I think, a bear or a beaver image used a lot. So they have the bird actually coming to life and coming down and basically destroying a picnic that this family is having by the side of a lake or something. And it also kind of looks up north in the pine trees, which is where the people live. So it's just kind of a really neat, a really fun project they came up with. So it's supposed to be an adaptation, a change from the original, and these are just some things students have done in the past.